Hello again for yet another video. It has been a while, and the reason for that is really because I've been incredibly busy. And part of this busyness came from me attending last week's KNIME Summit in Berlin, where I really had a blast over all the 3 days, met a lot of people from the community, from the KNIME team, from KNIME partners and KNIME customers, and saw a lot of great presentations and also updates from the KNIME team in terms of what's new to the platform. So 2 highlights for me. One for sure were the updates to the community hub, and I'll definitely cover that in the very near future. So the news there is that if you're on the team plan on the community hub, you can now, going forward, share data apps and deploy them to any user who's on the community hub. And they just become a data consumer. So you're still on your 99 euros or whatever it is monthly Teams plan. And whenever a data app or a workflow is executed, you consume credits and they charge you on a pay-as-you-go basis. So really amazing move from them to make the great cloud functionalities in their commercial offerings available on an entry level, I would say. So the second topic, and that was definitely my bigger highlight, were the announcements around AI agents that you can now use in KNIME. And that is what I want to cover today. So on Wednesday morning, Michael Berthold shared, I guess, his vision on how agents can work. And that was, for everyone who's into the nuts and bolts and details, quite a big tease, because there were some workflow shown. However, there were a lot of components and meta nodes, and the desired double click just didn't happen in that presentation. However, it then happened later that day in the last presentation, where they actually did a very, very decent demo. What you see on screen right now are the example workflows that they walked us through. And I will share these with you right now, cover a little bit how they work. And I think I also want to try and build a tool that we can then use within these agents, just to illustrate how really simple it is to do this going forward. So let's get started with that. I'm already logged into the community hub, and here are the examples that they've provided. What I'll do is I'll download the entire Ask Me Anything folder. So just make sure that you are logged in. Then you get these download buttons. Awesome. So once the download is complete, you just head to your KNIME Analytics platform. I'm on the latest version, which is 5.4.3. And you go to any place on your local space and you go and import that workflow. It's a .knar file, which means that there are folders and workflows inside of it. Once the import is complete, you can just do the double click and you are inside of the folder. So there were 3 examples where they did a very brilliant job in, I guess, adding complexity from example to example. I will cover the most complex one, which is a chat app the agent is wrapped into a loop. And these agents have access to some demo tools. So let's get started by looking into the main workflow. Now that this is open, you will immediately notice that there are some credentials required. So I just copied an API key that I have, and I will go to the credentials configuration and add it as a password. I'll also save it in here. I will also revoke this key before I publish this video. Let's just see whether it all executes. Very good. I like that. So let's maybe take a look into this app. So this is really where the magic happens. Once I open that app, in a moment, we will have to do some API key adding to the tools. There are some what they call intelligent tools. But this is where the main magic is happening. And this is actually what I really liked when I experimented with AI agents in my previous 2 videos. My biggest struggle was to try and reduce the complexity in how I chose to set it up. And one of the struggles and challenges that I faced and didn't really get to solving was on how to avoid that, all your tool definitions and things like that needed to be stored in an Excel file. And it did a great job. You can now just select, I guess, a folder where all the tools are in. So that's the demo tools folder. And then inside this node, there's a lot of magic happening in terms of extracting these tool definitions that we can see here, which defines what the input is. For example, in this company information tool, there's an input required, which is a user question, and whatever is assigned to this user question will then be used inside the logic of the tool. And I think that's where it makes sense to take a look next. Let me go back to my hub and let's go into the demo tools. And to start with, I'll just open all of them one by one. And then we'll go through them left to right. So there's a company insights tool. So this seems to be an intelligent tool as well. So we need the API key. So let's just paste that and save it. Works. And here you can see that this is actually what I call callable workflow. So this workflow can be accessed sort of like in programming a function can from inside another workflow. And this little container input in brackets JSON is what drives or what defines the input that is required so that this workflow can be used. And this is where I guess the average KNIME user will have to learn a little bit new to be able to efficiently use that, because JSON, meaning JavaScript object notation, is a little bit programmy, I guess. So if I open this up, there you can see a JavaScript object, which is sort of nested inside these curly braces. And inside these curly braces, you have a key and a value assigned to that key. So in this case, the key is a user question, and the default value is what is the domain of Pirate Life Adventures. So I guess it's just a fake customer of KNIME that they created for the demo purpose. And what is then happening is that whenever this tool is called, the user question, which is sent when this tool is activated, is extracted into a column, and then that is further manipulated and put into a prompt, and then some logic is happening. So here, as a matter of fact, they extract some company information from a table, turns it into JSON, do some cross-joining, string manipulation, and then they pass that as a prompt into a large language model, which then provides another output. And then here this output is turned into a JSON object again, which is then output. So let's maybe just go back. So the way that this flows is there's a user question, and based on this user question, the large language model, a chat model prompter, gets the user question, and you can see this bottom port. This bottom port now has this tool information table in it. And based on the user question and the tools, this LLM may actually decide to use one of these tools. And that is then happening here, where the tool information is used to actually call the workflow at this location. Then the tool output is formatted. And all of this is happening inside a recursive loop, so that there might be some iterations until a response is being shown to the user. I think the easiest way to get an understanding how all of this works is by just running it. So let me quickly go and update API keys where necessary, and then we'll take this for a spin. Okay, I did just that. So let's just open this up. And let's start the app. And here we can start with a message. Let's actually try one of the examples that they showed on the summit. Apparently there's a fake employee named Jack Sparrow in the data in one of the tools. And there we go. Jack Sparrow is a former KNIME employee in the tech department, is German and based in New York. Awesome. And look how great that is. It even says which tool was used. Let's next try and use the demo tool for support tickets. I've opened it up, and let's inspect a little bit of the demo data that they have in here, so that we can see if we can spot maybe what might be a good way or good question to ask. Let's maybe ask for the last ticket that Jack Sparrow has opened. Let's see whether this information is enough to get a response. And there we go, it actually worked out. So the last support ticket opened by Jack Sparrow was titled Unexpected Node Behavior. It was created on March 1st, 2025, has a severity level of critical and currently marked as resolved. It used the tool. So let's maybe see if we can find this ticket in this demo data. So 1st of March, unexpected node behavior. Oh, indeed. Wow. So this works really nicely. I'm actually quite impressed how well it works. Awesome. So I guess now you get a little bit the gist of it. So you can interact with this via this nice chat interface. And then there are a bunch of tools with some demo data for now. So what I now want to try is actually port what I call my agent web search tool across and make it compatible with this container input. And then I want to find out if this agent actually will use it. So let me do some work and I will then explain how that worked. So this is the tool, the web search tool that I've built. And there's a custom node that I've written. It's part of my AI extension. And the way that this works, I mean, this was a callable workflow in my second agent video. So a tool input comes in with the question, what is KNIME? So that would be received here. The agent web search tool uses some fancy Python packages to find answers on the web. And the good thing about these packages is that they manage to only grab what's relevant. And then that is sort of just being passed through and then being passed out. So let's maybe take a look at the demo tool for the KNIME employee search. JSON comes in just with a name. This is then turned into a table with the name of Jack Sparrow. Then there's some string matching going on against this demo data table where Jack Sparrow comes out. There's then a lookup of all the other information that's in this demo data. And then this is turned into a JSON object. And this JSON object is being passed out as JSON-output. So all I do is I will replicate this. I'm just copying these nodes. And here, instead of name, this is search query. And let's make this default to what is KNIME. And then what's also important is this description. So let me just see if I can make that a bit bigger. So I've just looked at how they wrote that description of the tool for the KNIME employee lookup, and I came up with this. This is a generic web search tool which takes in a user search query and uses DuckDuckGo and other engines to obtain search results. This tool does not use LLMs and it can create an empty response. So let's go with that. The reason why this is important, this is a description that will be given to that first large language model. And then based on the initial chat message, it will determine whether this tool may need to be used. So then we will do a JSON path. We'll have to modify that. So let's get rid of this one. And let's just click on this. Once this is highlighted, you can see that that single query is active. Once I do that, it actually uses that. Let's click OK. And now we have the column search query. So let's now connect that to the agent tool. And then we can already get rid of these nodes. Now that that is done, let's just tidy this up, and we will have to select another search column in my custom web search tool. That is search query. Let's do maybe 2 results for now. Let's run this. And it finds search results. Yep, now let's think about what we really need to return here. Let's take a look at the employee. Here we just grab all the information, turn it into JSON. And what we want to keep here, maybe review this. We definitely want to keep the query, and I guess then we want to keep the response. So keep this. We don't need the role. Let's now see how we can turn this into JSON. JSON happens with table to JSON. I mean, that looks good enough for now. Connect it to here. So in my web search tool, what I'll modify is I'll make it only get one response. And what I'll do is I will not only get one response, but I will modify the column with the result to only keep, I don't know, maybe the first 1,000 characters max. I mean, that will clip it. That will definitely in some cases affect performance, but just for the sake of getting something to work right now, I really want to get this done. The other change that I might make is just to, what was the other to JSON, columns to JSON. So let's, yep, both those I want to turn. We don't have a list, but just a JSON object. Output that. Yep, that worked very well. Save, and then we'll have one more try. So let's try this question. Who was invited to KNIME Summit 2025 in Berlin to speak in a finance, audit, and AI panel? This it really can only answer if it has access to the search capabilities. So let's take it for a spin. Okay, so here's the result. So it actually did not find the speakers. That might be because my tool is cutting off after 1,000 characters. Obviously, there are some other ways that you could handle that, and then you may get better responses. But at least we now see that there was a response, and it used the demo generic web search tool that I've added. And this just showcases that you can really easily extend the capabilities of these agents that you can now use in KNIME if you know some basic concepts. I think I will leave it at that. I will upload my version of this to my space. You can get the link in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed that. Going forward, I'll definitely cover more of AI agentic stuff in KNIME. I will also cover community hub stuff on the team plan and probably some other topics. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you next time.